Good evening, Bahamas. Coming up tonight, the 4 women killed on yesterday's Labor Day march have been identified. This while Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis visits the families of those most deeply affected. Plus, single-use plastic bags will soon be a thing of the past. Find out what you can do to speed up the process.
Our news is brought to you by Alive.
Welcome to our news and thanks for joining us. I'm Jared Higgs. Topping news tonight, police have identified the women killed in yesterday's Labor Day tragedy. It was shortly after 10 a.m. in the midst of the parade when a vehicle struck dozens of participants and onlookers, killing 4 of them and injuring 24 others. And as our news found out, 3 of them have close ties to First Caribbean Bank. 55-year-old Diane Elizabeth Ferguson, 51-year-old Kathleen Augusta Fernander, 41-year-old Tabitha Charlene Hay, and 48-year-old Tammy Patrice Gibson have been identified as the 4 women killed by an out-of-control truck during Friday's Labor Day march. According to police, the vehicle was a part of the march when the driver got out and the truck rolled down East Street Hill. The unmanned green F-150 truck plowed through the crowd, killing the 4 women and injuring dozens of others, including a child. Hospital officials were forced into mass casualty mode as the scene told the tale of a truly horrific accident. According to a statement released by First Caribbean International Bank, 2 of the victims, Tammy Gibson and Tabitha Hay, were former employees. Gibson served the bank for approximately 27 years before departing in 2017. Tabitha Hay worked for the bank for more than 10 years before leaving in June of 2011. Another victim, Diane Ferguson, is the mother of one of the bank's current employees. President of the Bahamas Financial Services Union, Teresa Mortimer, was on the march and suffered minor injuries due to the accident. She knew all the women who passed away, including Kathleen Fernander.
That's a classmate of mine. We graduated in 1979. We did our years in school together. We might have lost our way after school, but in the last 5 years, she came back into my life. I don't know why. You know, people come to your life for a reason, for a season, and you don't know until it is magnified. And like I said to her family last night, Rogers is not in the Bahamas Financial Services Union. Rogers is like a sister to me. So, you know, I didn't have to beg her to come on the parade. She was on the parade last year. She said, spring, we're going on the parade this year, and after the parade, we're going to do this, this, and this. So she had her plans, but her plans wasn't God's plan.
Tammy Gibson was also very close to Mortimer, serving as a union executive even after leaving her bank job.
Tammy Gibson was my assistant secretary treasurer. I went trader for the world. Tammy would have left the bank in November of last year. She could have left the union. She chose to stay. And, you know, we had a workshop last week, and everyone got up and introduced themselves. And Tammy introduced herself, and she said, I'm a pensioner. My aim and mission in life is to be a missionary. So I'm going into theology. Tammy belongs to the ages. She belongs to God. Okay? It hurt.
Mortimer also fondly remembered the selfless spirit of 41-year-old Tabitha Hayes.
Tabitha Hayes left, but Tabitha Hayes came back every year. Tabitha would call Madam President, I need so much shirts. This year Tabitha needed extra shirts because Tabitha said she adopted, her sister got killed a couple of years back, and she legally adopted her sister's children. They were now with her, and she said, I need shirts for them.
Diane Ferguson was set to travel with the union in less than 2 weeks. Mortimer says her smile was infectious.
She was just happy. She came on the parade yesterday morning. She joined the parade. I think it was at DeVoe Street or Young Street. She joined it. She came in the back, Madam President, I reach, give me my kiss, and she said, we're going to do this today. You know, she was alive, Diane, you know, so we're not going to linger on it. We're going to take those precious memories we have of our fallen sisters. We're going to unite.
While yesterday's circumstances were overwhelmingly sad, the union chief isn't pointing fingers.
Yesterday's tragedy was not a union's tragedy. It was a country's tragedy. No one caused it. We're not blaming anybody. In fact, when the dust had settled and I was up all night thinking about it, after my counselors would have called me and talked to me about it, it's God's plan. And we have to use it to build. We can't allow it to break us down. It's a tragedy. Believe you me, June the 1st, 2018 will always be in our minds. We can't erase it, but we're going to replace it with pleasant memories.
Mortimer says she and her team visited both hospitals earlier today, where the remaining injured were resting comfortably. Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis cut short visits to Long Island and Eleuthera this weekend as a result of Friday's tragedy. He returned to the capital on Saturday, where he spent the morning visiting the families of the women killed in yesterday's horrific accident on the Labor Day parade. Minnis was flanked by Minister of Health Dr. Dwayne Sands, Minister of Labour Dion Fowkes, Bahamas Christian Council President Delton Fernander, and several advisors. A particularly touching moment occurred when Minnis, Sands, Fowkes, and Fernander consoled Stephen Hayes, the husband of 41-year-old Tabitha Hayes, one of the victims. The men offered their support to the widower while Bishop Fernander prayed for him. Undoubtedly a difficult time for the families, the presence of the Prime Minister appeared to lift their spirits, even if slightly. As the nation was shocked by the deaths of those 4 women on the Labor Day parade, police in Grand Bahama also found themselves investigating a traffic fatality in their backyard. According to reports, it was shortly after 3 p.m. on Friday afternoon when officers were called to Bay Shore Road in 8 Mile Rock, Grand Bahama. At the scene, they found a silver Honda Fit vehicle that collided into a utility pole. The lone passenger in that vehicle, a man, died on the scene. Police are appealing to members of the public to wear their seatbelts and to adhere to the speed limit. When our news returns, a top accountant talks about the cost of corruption. We've got that and more on the other side.